Hey everyone, welcome back to Pursuing Ultra. So today I want to have a brief discussion about pacing strategy for an ultra marathon. So the ultra marathon that I'm running is going to be 100 kilometers, which is going to be about 62 miles. That's a long way. And I think one thing for me that is the most daunting, seeing that I've never actually done anything like this far before in terms of trail running and stuff, is how to manage pacing and splits. Because if most of us are honest with ourselves, or if I'm honest with myself, doing like even 2.5 hours right now leaves me pretty tired and pretty sore. Even from that perspective, that 2.5 hours, I'm hitting like 12, maybe 14 miles at the most. And while, that just seems incredibly slow for me, in the grand scheme of things, my goal here is to complete an ultra marathon. It's not to win it. It's just to complete it and not feel completely destroyed from it. In terms of pacing, I was looking at the race the other day. It's 6,000 feet of elevation gain, which I don't think that will be much of a problem. I regularly do, 2,000 or 3,000 on these like really short climbs. So over the course of a day, 6,000 feet won't be too terrible. There's cutoff times in terms of it's a 2-loop course. These cutoff times, I think the first time you get through the first loop, you have to be finishing the first loop by like 3:30 p.m., which if you start the race at 7 in the morning, that's an 8.5 hour loop for the first loop at least. If you don't get there, then you're cut off. But then you have until midnight to actually finish the race. So you'd actually have to negative split if you were just coming in at, that 3:30 mark in the afternoon. I think what the pacing ends up being, if you end up doing the entire thing, is like 16 minutes per mile. And it doesn't necessarily worry me because 16 minutes per mile seems like a slog, really, really slow. But I don't know how my body is going to be reacting, come 30, 40, 50, 60 miles. Something that I'm practicing is pacing early, because if you pace early, you're going to maintain higher glycogen stores, glycogen levels, relying on more fat for your energy production. So by pacing early, you give your body a chance to spare those really precious carbohydrates. And if you essentially deplete all your carbohydrates, you're going to run into issues like bonking. If you're unfamiliar with what the bonk is, it's the time in a marathon, about 20 miles, where people start to feel like they've hit both a mental and a physical wall. No matter how hard they push, they just can't push through it. So from a pacing standpoint, by going slower, because that's all I'm trying to do is finish, I give my body the ability to be able to uptake more food, because the slower you're going, the more blood you have for your digestive system. And I will spare carbohydrates being burned. And the depletion of carbohydrates can really lead to fatigue. In order to get as sport specific as possible, I'm trying to pace myself in a sense to the pacing strategy that is required to finish the race. Obviously, I want to do a little bit better than 16-minute miles. So that's what you see me. I'm going uphill right now. But on all the flats, I'll just jog a little bit than hard. But in terms of speed, jogging is way faster than just walking and power hiking. And I think that'll be a good strategy, is start fairly conservatively, make sure I'm nailing nutrition. So I got my water bottles today. I've really been practicing that a lot too. And then I'm going to practice a couple pretty long workouts, coming in the summer and those sort of things as I get closer to the race, which isn't until October, with the idea, I'm not going to do anything like super crazy, but like 3-4 hours at a time, plus maybe doing like a back-to-back long long run day, all of which is just going to help me practice and get used to that feeling of going conservatively. Again, that's the word of the day, I guess, conservatively and pacing to get me to the finish line in one piece. During my Ironman, I made kind of a fatal error. I never really trained with nutrition. And then on the Ironman day, I was feeling so good because I had tapered and was just jacked up on adrenaline, ready to go. What I did was I rode the bike portion of the Ironman really hard. I think I averaged like 20 miles an hour, which is like not normal in terms of speed for me. Everything felt good until 10 miles into the run, where anything I would eat would result in cramping. I had to just like walk, and sometimes I couldn't walk just because I was cramping so bad. I want to avoid, and I think the issue that I ran into there was that I went too hard, too early for what my body wasn't prepared for, in a sense. So I'm really trying to take more of a conservative approach, go out easy, stay consistent, and just build from there. If I'm feeling good in the last 10 miles, then I'll, continue to run and all that. But I'm just trying to get across the finish line in one piece and have a good time doing it. Those are my goals. The key takeaway here is that look at the pacing strategies, or look at the required pace for you to finish within the allotted time. If you're someone like me who's just trying to finish, and then go out, hit those paces early, because that's going to help you sustain that pace for the majority of the race, because it's really easy to go out way too hard. That was a long-winded way of just saying consistently pace yourself during your ultra runs. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, leave them down in the comments below. All right, I'll see you in the next one.